Jaya Gora Hare.
Welcome to another episode of TwoMuchWise.
This is the Gita Expedition series where we explore the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, verse by verse and chapter by chapter.
All that we discuss here is what we've heard from perfected teachers and spiritualists from the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. None of this is our own analysis.
If you're here for the first time, then we recommend that you watch the warm-up series of the Bhagavad Gita where we introduce some concepts of the Gita for the first time.
This episode is better heard than watched. You can hear it while taking a walk, while driving, cooking, or even walking out.
We've had a lot of fun recording this, and we hope that it's an enriching experience for all of you as well. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टये तान्यबोधाद्विजोत्तमा नायकं मम सन्न्यासा सम्यार्थं तं ब्रवीमि ते भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपाश्च समितं जया अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सोमदत्तिस्तथैव च अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविता नानशस्त्रप्रहराणा सर्वे योधा विशारदा. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwadhama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta, Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
Jai. So, uh, Duryodhan continues his tirade and basically is trying to drive in his diplomacy a little more in his conversations with his guru, his martial art guru, who is Dronacharya. And we'll see how his mind is working, the internal workings of his mind. We'll be able to see a little more X-ray of his mind. We'll be able to see a little more, understand his psyche a little more. And yeah, I think taking forward the story of the Mahabharata, of the Gita, leading up to the conversation between Krishna and Arjun. Yeah, first chapter has many sections, and now we are getting into the basically the second section. Hopefully, I think by today we'll finish off the first section and move on to the second section thereafter. Yes. So, Prabhu, what are your thoughts? He is speaking to Guru Dronacharya, and he has already spoken about, Drishtadyumna. He's spoken about Drupad, did some chabi here and there. He's done all of that. Now, he's basically talking about, okay, wait a second. I'll tell you something about our side
Yeah.
also. So he's talking about our side, his side, which is Kaurava's side. He's taking names, like he says, oh, best of the Brahmanas. He is now saying, what we'll see here is he's saying, oh, best of the Brahmanas, not in a sarcastic way, because he wants to balance it out now. He doesn't want to demotivate or, rub Dronacharya too harshly, so that aisa na ho jaye ki he leaves and he just doesn't fight at all, because that's not what he wants. He wants to appropriately put some mirch masala on him, just put some chabi on him to the optimal level that he actually fights for him. And then he basically says, oh, best of Brahmanas. He's giving him respect, and he's going to talk about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
Yeah.
That is what he's going to talk about.
It,
Thoughts here, Prabhu?
it's almost like a cover up from Duryodhan.
Yeah, yeah,
Because in the last session we discussed how he was almost taunting his own guru, right? When he said
correct.
that the great disciple of your friend Drishtadumna.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, Now he's trying to cover up, and
yeah,
when I read this, I felt like this is leadership 101 gone wrong. Because you know
right.
ima- you're starting your motivation talk, your huddle talk, by talking about, hey, listen, how strong is their team. And then
Hmm.
suddenly you're like, oops, I've gone too far, this is quite discouraging,
Yeah,
so let me come back and let me encourage my people now. So that's really
correct.
leadership gone wrong. But why is it that he discouraged his own folks in the beginning? It was because that fear in him was overwhelming. he was too
Yeah,
fearful, and his thoughts sort of uh, they threw out of his mind, and they came onto his mouth. Like, they were thrown out of his mind and they came out of his mouth, and he shared his fear by telling that, oh, look at these guys, they're really strong. And then he's like, oh,
yeah,
oh, my folks are getting
yeah.
discouraged. So the huddle talk, the pep talk just went wrong here.
Yeah, and I think more than, even more than his fear, because he has a bigger army. To on paper, if you see, like, he has a bigger army, he has bigger heroes, etc. All of that, especially those who are fighting. Even more than fear, I think it's his vulnerability, his
Mhm.
insecurity,
Yeah,
because he knows, even though the bigger heroes are on my side, he knows the internal truth, that whose side does their real allegiance, lie. And that is something that is, anyway, from the beginning, that's what his whole envy about, in terms of envy for Pandavas, was because they were always been more liked, or more popular, or the people really, sided with them more anyway. So that was his vulnerability, insecurity from the beginning, and he knew that the people who are fighting on his side, he wants them on his side, but their hearts, even though their arms are fighting for him, their hearts are still on the side of Pandavas, and that is something that took control of him, and, as you said, really did a U-turn on him. He should have talked about the positives. He should have talked about encouraging his side, even if he wants to win, for his own sake. He should have done that, but he chose to do the opposite. He chose to instigate rather than inspire, and that is something that I think he's realized a little bit. But now he's trying to cover up, as you said.
yeah,
In text 8, basically, he goes on to praise them, and the first name he takes is Dronacharya again. He's
yeah,
trying to praise
yeah,
him, saying, great
yeah,
personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, all their names he takes there again. So
yeah.
yeah, correctly
It's
said, Prabhu.
it's like It's like Rohit Sharma goes for the World Cup final with Australia, and he huddles up with the Indian cricket team, and then he tells Virat Kohli, Virat, we are fighting against the best Australian team ever. Look, they've got Stark, the bowler, and remember, he bowled you out on a duck 3 times this year. You remember? And then he's like, oh, Virat
Yeah,
is getting discouraged. Oh, Virat, but you've also created many records. You're the highest record holder. It's too late, bro. It's
yeah,
too late.
yeah. It's too late. Yeah,
But the fear in Rohit's heart about the Australian team is too much. The insecurity is too much. The envy is too much. So then it comes
yeah,
out. He blurts it out.
yeah. It came out. It came out like that.
Yeah. The
Another
eighth
important thing, I think,
shloka.
here. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think another important thing, he's still continuing with his vulnerability though. Like, he takes all these names, like him, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama. He takes Ashwathama's name very importantly because, like, Ashwathama is definitely one of the mighty warriors that he has, but he doesn't need to take his name. He could have taken other people's names here, but he took his name, especially to Dronacharya, because he knows that Ashwathama is the life and soul of Dronacharya. That's his only attachment, that's his only weak
Oh
link.
yeah.
And he's reminding him that, hey, listen, your own son is fighting on this side, and the other side is just
Yeah.
out to kill. So if you don't fight well, for this side, your own son will get might just get killed, right? So he's just reminding him of that, again, hiding these little instigatory things in his conversation. um, just imagine, Duryodhan lives like this. He lives like this, and we might think of ourselves as better than Duryodhan, but we too, somehow or the other, are living lives like Duryodhan, and it is tiring. Don't you think this is tiring? Just in 8 shlokas, 9 shlokas, I feel tired. I feel tired being inside of
Mhm.
Duryodhan's mind, right? I'm like, kya sochta rehta hai yaar? Like, why do you keep thinking about this? You just
Just
keep
be
thinking
simple,
about,
man.
yeah, just just chill out. But yeah, it's easier said than done, by the way, being simple. But here, what I get to learn is that being simpler is just so much. It's a lot more peaceful, and we don't do it. We can see it now that, okay, we can tell Duryodhan, be peaceful, man. What are you doing? Just it's so complicated. You just complicating things for yourself and living life full of anxiety. Just, and you bringing it upon yourself. Nobody is doing it for you. You're bringing anxiety in your own life by just making up all of these things in your head.
Yeah.
We can see all
Yeah.
of
I,
that.
I just want to.
Yeah.
I want to just just to give uh, some sense of the anxiety in Duryodhan's heart, along with Ashwadhama. If you look, I just want to point out the other names quickly, because in
Yeah,
each of the names there is some complexity, there is some diplomacy
some
going on in his
complexity. Yeah,
head. Like look at when he's saying Bhishma right after Dronacharya's name, because he doesn't want Bhishma to feel left out, because Bhishma is the other
Correct.
stalwart, he's the other most
Yeah.
senior person, he's the
Yeah.
leader of the pack, he's the captain.
Yeah.
Then he's saying Karna, because Karna and Bhishma, they don't do well, like they don't like each other,
Yeah.
so he doesn't want Karna now to
Correct.
feel left out, so quickly says Karna. Then there's another name, Vikarna was the
Yeah.
only one on the Kaurava side who sort of
Did
raised
not
his
want.
voice during
Yeah.
Draupadi's
Yeah.
disrobing, and he said, hey, you can't do this to Draupadi. So now he was
Yeah.
a little worried, this Vikarna, although he's not like a great warrior, I don't want him to shift sides right now, because that'll be a
Right.
disgrace. That's
Yeah.
like Cristiano Ronaldo going away from Manchester United right before the league started. So then
Yeah.
the Manchester United crew feels really demoralized. He doesn't want that.
Yeah.
So behind each
Losing
name,
face.
there is so much
Yeah.
diplomacy. So as you said, there is so much
Yeah.
complexity. It's just getting
Sure.
magnified in every sentence that he's saying. So
Correct.
be simple, right? Be simple. And
Yeah.
now you were saying that, okay, all of us are complex. Go ahead, Prabhu, just coming
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah. And
How is it difficult
yeah,
for all of
I
us
was
to be
basically saying
simple?
that it's easier said than done to be simple. But here, because we see the complexity magnified in someone else, especially someone like Duryodhan, and the havoc it is creating for him in his own head, and the anxiety it is creating for him in his own head, we can basically see that yeah, maybe a lot of things in our head that we a lot of anxiety in our own lives we bring upon ourselves because of a lot of things, lot of complexities that we uh, basically concoct for ourselves in our lives. If you're simple, it's okay, like it just makes life easier. Simple life makes things easier for ourselves, and here we can see that most of these things, otherwise we'll have to live like this. Like we say anything, we'll have to counter that with something else, we'll have to counter that with something, we'll have to make it up for something somewhere else. And if you live like that, when will you really focus on things that are actually important? And most of us have to live like this, I guess, in our offices, in our homes, wherever you see dynamics. People say dynamics, politics होती है यहाँ पे. People say politics, I don't like politics happening. Nobody likes politics, but everybody's in it, right? Everybody's in it, everybody's just participating in it. And we know that that basically is an um undesirable element, but somehow or the other we get embroiled in it. And yeah, that's what we see happening here, personification of all of this in Duryodhan.
I want to also introduce another perspective, which
Yeah.
is just on the tangent that you've touched. Uh, While we are calling Duryodhan very complex and diplomatic,
Yeah.
one might say that in a way he's inclusive, right? If we didn't know Duryodhan's character and the bigger picture, and we were reading it
Yeah.
without any context of the Mahabharata, if we were reading Bhagavad Gita without any context of the Mahabharata, you may say, hey,
Yeah.
dude, he's really inclusive. Like, he's making sure he's calling out the important people. That's the job
Mm.
of a politician, that's the job of a PR professional, that's the job of a business leader. Be inclusive.
Yeah.
but but why we're calling it complex is because we know the intent behind this inclusivity, right? It's
Right.
the cunningness behind this inclusivity.
Yeah.
uh, he's complex because he wants something out of these people, right? It's different to
Correct.
be inclusive to be genuinely inclusive, like to
Right.
genuinely involve it. But here, this is motivated, this is for selfish interests.
Right.
He's uh, he is pushing them hard. He's trying to get them to be fired up for his own success. He doesn't care about
Correct.
what are their value systems, Vikarna's value
Right.
system, Bhishmadev's value system, Dronacharya's value system. He doesn't care. He just wants them
If
to
he
be
cared
fired up
about
so that he will.
Bhishmadev's value system or Dronacharya's value systems or Vikarna's value systems, he would have listened to them, and this fight would not have been happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
This I think this
So
is where
so
yeah. Sorry.
go ahead, Prabhu. No,
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 I was
go
just
ahead.
saying that this is where actually the first section concludes the whole section of setting the scene, in terms of the battlefield, the people involved, the diplomacy, the politics, and the background context. This is the first section till the eighth shloka, and this is where it ends basically.
Yeah. And the ninth shloka is where we begin the next section. You want to talk
Yeah, the
about it?
next section. Yeah, next section. I think we can do 9 and 10. I know we've planned to do nine only, but we can do 9 and 10 because it's
Okay.
the same theme. Yeah,
Let's go for it.
9 and 10. start talking about the omens, right? The omens means the signs of victory, that it actually, even before the war starts, the signs were there that who's going to win, which side is going to emerge victorious. And especially ninth and 10th are one of my most interesting ones. I mean, the interesting ones for me, especially because they have double meanings. If you have translations and then there is an explanation to them, and then there is a double meaning in that explanation. For example, text 9 and 10, both of them are being spoken by Duryodhan. There is own words, and his words, in his words, it is said that the premonition, the prophecy is made that he is going to lose, and who's going to win, Pandavas are going to win. In his own words he says something, but yeah, the meaning basically comes out as, oh yeah, he's actually predicted it correctly, that who's going to win. And
So,
that's why I
so
find them
that's
really
that's the
interesting,
sign of
text 9.
that's the sign of victory that is being given out by Duryodhan himself.
Yes, by Duryodhan himself. And there are other signs of
Mm.
victory in text 11 onwards, but text 9 and 10 are basically signs of victory from Duryodhan's word, hidden inside Duryodhan's own words, basically.
So
Yeah.
one to eight was the first section where
Yes.
it was all about the preparation of war, right? Like, look who's
Preparation.
on their
Yes.
side, look who's on our side, look at the
Yeah.
caliber of their side, look at the caliber of our side. And now signs of victory are going to come up, and these signs of
Yeah.
victory are beginning with Duryodhan himself
Yeah.
bringing out these signs. So,
Correct.
what are the signs? What is it that Duryodhan is uh,
So
telling us
let's
about
read
the
what he
future?
says. He says, there are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. He says this, the first liner, there are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for it. And on the acharyas say that, yeah, it seems like he's saying, oh, there's so many who are so dedicated to me that even their lives they're prepared to give. But here it is interpreted in a way that there are so many other heroes who are now prepared to lay down their lives, and they will lay down their lives for his sake. They will all be dead by the end of the Mahabharat war. It is said the majority of both sides was really obliterated in the war.
64
And
crore 64 crore men
yeah,
died. That's the
yeah,
number.
64 crore men. That's almost half of India's population today, right? Yeah, that
And
is
in only
crazy.
18 days.
In 18 days obliterated. It was actually a world war, and more than even a world war, it was like a universal war. The whole universe was had its eyes on this war, basically. It's that kind of a war, Mahabharat. And he's saying it here that there are many other heroes who prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all of them are experienced in military science, yet they will all die. And that is something of for prophecy. And text 10, he says, this is very interesting. He says, our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. He's talking about both army K commanders, Bhima on one side and Bhishma Dev on one side. Here in the translation, it is giving you one meaning. What is it? He says, our strength is immeasurable, unlimited. He says we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma. Whereas then he's comparing. He's like this, on the other side, the strength of Pandavas, it is carefully protected and is limited. Right? So he's talking about it, कि हमारा तो it's so big and so vast. अरे, we don't have to any worry in our heads, etc. But if you see
His
the
usual
Sanskrit,
flamboyance.
yeah. But in Sanskrit, if you see, it's a play of words. It can mean both things. It says, aparyaptam tad asmakam balam bhishma balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam twa idam etasham balam bhima bhirakshitam. So it's a very in bhishma bhirakshitam and bhima bhirakshitam, that there's a play of words there. Balam and then aparyaptam and paryaptam. So there's just a one word ka difference there. Aparyaptam, paryapt matlab like it's enough. But aparyaptam, paryaptam, both mean very opposite things. So when he says our strength is immeasurable, aparyaptam, he basically, it is said that in the prophecy mode, it is read how it is read that our strength is actually immeasurable, in the sense that it is not there. There's nothing to measure.
Yeah.
In terms of in comparison, our strength is actually immeasurable, because our strength cannot be measured in front of theirs, and we are perfectly protected here, it says. And it says in the other meaning, basically said that we are imperfectly protected. The Sanskrit means the both the things are correct if you read the Sanskrit in different ways. And whereas the strength of the Pandavas is carefully protected by Bhima is limited likha hai, so it is unlimited from their side.
Mhm.
It is not carefully protected, but it is unlimited from their side. So these are the two things, two meanings that our acharyas say. One of them is the literal translation, and the other one, if you just move a little, the way you read it, if you just move it here and there, just one letter here and there, it basically becomes totally opposite. And he's basically prophesizing that how his strength, his side strength, will definitely prove to be limited and not immeasurable, in the sense of unlimited, and the other side is going to be victorious. So this is the first these are the first two shlokas in this section, where we get to know that who's going to be victorious.
I know why you like these two shlokas so much. I know why they resonate with you, because you're a literary artist. You know, you like this play of
Not because of
words.
that, but I was like, but no,
Yeah,
I'll
because
tell you why. The
interesting.
first time I didn't know this.
Mm,
I didn't know this. It's not Prabhupada doesn't write it in the translation. He hints about it in the purports, right? But the acharyas, when I heard about it from other teachers who had heard it from the acharyas, they explained it so well. They
mm.
said that this is going to be such a big event. So you know what Saraswati did? Saraswati
Ah,
sat on, and she's done this on multiple instances in other important events also. Duryodhan ke jeep pe Saraswati sat and made him say these things, right? So on the external angle, people might be thinking he's boasting and he's protecting him, talking about his strength, etc. But the internal meaning, there is another internal meaning. Duryodhan didn't do this on purpose. He didn't have another meaning to talk about,
yeah,
but his words had different meanings,
yeah.
and that's what Saraswati did. And that is why it was very interesting for me. Like, oh yeah, these hidden little Easter eggs are getting, hidden these meanings, and only the acharyas who can see these
Yeah.
little crevices in all of these words, they can open it up for us.
Yeah.
That's why it was a
Yeah.
little interesting for me.
That also reminds me of what one of the modern day saints of our times, very popular among the youth, SB Keshav Swami says. He says that
Yeah,
every time you're reading the Bhagavad Gita, you find new meaning, right? Like, and once you
correct.
start looking through the lens of the acharyas, you find new fresh meaning every time. And he actually wrote one of the books that he's written. It's called Gita 3, in which he's reading the
Mhm.
Gita through three different lenses. And of course, it's not
Yeah,
three. There are so many different perspectives that the acharyas give us, because
yeah,
they understand the essence of the Bhagavad Gita already, and they look at
yeah,
the Bhagavad Gita with that essence. And in that essence, the Bhagavad Gita is so rich, and it can give you so many lessons if it's not misconstrued, if it's not misinterpreted. And hence, every time you get a different
yeah.
perspective if you read it with the lens of its essence,
Yeah,
with the
it's not
teacher.
like it's not a contradiction, or it's not like someone's personal interpretation कि ऐसा
Yeah.
भी हो सकता है, ऐसा भी, this can be like this also, this can be like that also. No, it's not someone's interpretations per se, because as you said, the acharyas all get tied together in the essence. The essence remains the same, and the essence is what? The essence is that Duryodhan here, he's harping on and on and on and on, and he just wants his own vested interest to basically get fulfilled, and that is being shown in these different varied ways. And the internal part, that okay, that's actually not going to happen. Satyameva jayate, as our national emblem says. Yeah, so in essence, the acharyas are all aligned, and the different varied lenses and the varied views that they show, is to, as you said, because the Gita is so rich, they basically show the different views which are looking at the same essence. And that is the reason why I think it's very interesting to hear about all of these different acharyas. And Srila Prabhupada has taken the essence of the essence of the essence, the cream from all of these views, and basically given it to us in the purports. And this section that we just started, which is signs of victory, is a short section, but it's a very interesting one. It talks about omens, and it talks about the different things about why these omens are pointing towards the victory of Pandavas. And I'm really excited to enter the further sections as well. Good that we started it out today. We were supposed to do it till 9, but I think we did it till the 10th, and we can continue it from the next session, I think.
Yep. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Been a very nice
Thank
discussion. In case those who are listening, if anyone is, if you're thinking who Prabhupada is, once again, he is the one who has given purports to the Bhagavad Gita we read, Bhagavad Gita as it is, which is the most read Bhagavad Gita in the world. You can read up more about him. Just type in Srila Prabhupada or A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and you'll find more about him. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for listening in. Okay, Prabhu, see you for the next
thank
one.
you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.